Hey guys, I hope everybody's having a fantastic day. Whether you're watching this in the morning, in the afternoon, or in the evening, I'm glad you're here. I want to take a real quick second and thank the channel members. Thank you guys so much. I appreciate you all more than you know. And just thank anybody coming through to watch my knife and EDC content. I appreciate it. If you like it and you're so inclined, if I could convince you to hit that subscribe button and that bell notification icon, it would really help me out. So today I was going to go through and look at kind of 10 kind of updated sharp slicey knives in my collection. So what constitutes a sharp slicey knife? In most cases it's going to be a medium to a medium sized knife. It's going to have extremely thin blade stock or thin blade stock. It's going to have nice cutting geometry. And it's going to be very slicey, like this Civivi Quebec here. This knife has fantastic blade geometry. It is super thin and slicey. It's a button lock. It is more on the value side of the knives that you're going to see in this collection, or in this 10 representation. This guy comes in, I want to say, right around 65 bucks. But coming in at number 10 on these slicey knives is a Civivi Quebec. So moving on, we come to a little more high-end knife, but also a very, very slicey knife. This is the Quiet Carry Drift. It shares that similar thin blade stock, tall, flat, stone-washed blade in Vanex. A thin overall package. Even the scales and the handles on this knife are very thin. I love the way this knife fits in my hand, and it's an absolute laser beam. I mean, a therapeutic slicer. This guy is not only very thin with great cutting geometry, but it has amazing action for a frame lock. So the Quiet Carry Drift is kind of an overall favorite recently. It's really become popular in my pocket, but it's definitely one of these 10 slicey knives that I wanted to kind of show you guys this afternoon. So coming in at number 9, we've got the Quiet Carry Drift, which brings us to number 8. And number 8 is the first slip joint or modern slip joint in this list. And this is the Maxace Beetle S. The Maxace Beetle S may be the thinnest knife in my collection. I'm not 100% sure of that, but if you look at that blade stock, that tall, flat ground M390 blade, you've got a full-size handle for a slip joint. This is a titanium carbon fiber handle. Maxace did a great job. And just an absolutely therapeutic cutter. There's literally no resistance on this blade because this blade is so flippin' thin. The Beetle S was a knife that I got early on when I was collecting or starting to get into slip joints because it looked cool, and I've always been a fan of Maxace. I also like that kind of riveting or ratcheting open and close with all those different stops. But when it came in, the first thing that's impressed me and surprised me was how thin that blade stock was, and that geometry is just slicey as it can be. So coming in at number 8, we've got the Maxace Beetle S in a slippy. Number 7, we have a newer knife in the collection. This is my Mr. Designs Cipher. They also make this knife in a drop point called the Cipher D. The Cipher, the way I've got it set up right now, is got carbon fiber handles. I've also got some titanium handles for it. It's got a nice titanium back spacer, M390 blade steel, flipper only deployment with this low profile flipper, but an absolute thin, tall, flat, Super Slicey Tanto. So this guy is absolutely a therapeutic cutter. Super, super thin, great action, liner lock. I'm usually not a flipper tab only guy, but this knife I knew it was a flipper tab only when I saw it on a few reviews, and the action is just dynamite. So coming in at number 7 in our sliciest knives on this tin is going to be the Mis Cipher knife. Coming in at number 6, we've got the first fixed blade in our collection. This is the Boker Daily Carry AK1. This little EDC fixed blade is probably one of the most nimble, light, refined little fixed blade slicers I've got in my collection. It's one of them. Comes in RWL 34 steel, carbon fiber handle, very, very thin at the grind. An absolutely therapeutic slicer. The Boker AK1 is a knife that had been on my radar for a really long time, but it had always kind of been priced out of my league for what I was looking for in fixed blades. So I've got an unboxing coming tomorrow or Tuesday that works off this same design with a little less blade steel, but this is the Boker Daily Carry AK1 in RWL 34, carbon fiber handles, and it is a slicer's dream for a fixed blade. So moving on, we come to number 5. Number 5 is a little slicer. It's so nice. This is the Denny Apprentice. It is such a good little slicer that I got it twice. This is the Gen 1. This is the Gen 2. The sharpening choil, or not the sharpening choil, the plunge grind was moved back in the G2, and you've got screw-on hardware as opposed to the pinned-on hardware. But this little knife is a dart. It is super thin, super slicey, an absolute splinter poker. This one is in Magna Cut and acid etched, and this one is in crew wear and satin. This little fixed blade is an absolute slicey, pokey, stabby little beast. I love these little knives. Denny is USA made by a guy named Tyler. Tyler Denny makes these little knives. They are totally minimalistic and they're absolutely fantastic. I can't say enough nice about them. I love them so much. Like I said, I bought 2. And again, I don't know for sure if these are going to be the last, because he does put these out in different steels. That's something that I kind of find intriguing, right? I like to get knives in different steels, and these are great knives to collect. So coming in at number 5, another fixed blade, we'll call it the Denny Apprentice, which brings us to number 4. And any of these knives, guys, could be number 1. Just so you know, these are all so slicey, they could all be right up there at number 1. This is my OG TRM Shadow 20 CV. It is extremely thin, a super tall, flat ground blade that just makes easy work out of anything you're cutting. the TRM Shadow. I've got a lot of TRM knives, all of the TRM knives with the exception of the Atlas. And this is the sliciest. This is the sliciest. My little Nerd has similar blade geometry, but it's a little shorter. But this guy right here could easily be the sliciest knife in the collection. We're going to let it come in tonight at number 4, and we're going to move on to number 3, which is another slip joint. And guys, I had to have the Feel Good Jack in the mix. This little knife, whether you're cutting fruit, whether you're cutting wood, whether you're cutting packages, whether you're cutting cardboard, whether you're cutting rope, whether you're cutting cord, whether you're cutting paper, this little S90V hollow ground blade is an absolute laser beam. So when you look at it from the top here, it's got a little thicker blade stock. And then you look at how this swedge comes around and it thins up. But then you look at this hollow and you feel down here at this edge. And I'm telling you, it feels like you're touching your fingers. It is so slicey. It has got such an aggressive slicey edge. It works through grapes. I was cutting grapes the other day just for shits and giggles because I like to cut stuff. It was laying them out. The Jack Wolf Feel Good Jack, I've got this, and I've got the Jack Wolf laid back or low drag jack. And the Feel Good's my number 1. The low drag's my number 2. I haven't picked up any others yet, but they're all super slicey knives. So coming in at number 3, we've got the Jack Wolf Feel Good Jack. Which brings us to number 2. Again, any of these knives that I'm showing you now, really in this top 10, all of them could be substituted out for number 1. I don't think you're going to find one that's not as good of a cutter as one of the others. They're just the way I put them together based on kind of my experience with them. This is the Spyderco Chromatic. This was the Knife Center exclusive model in CPM Crewwear. It has got rock scale design, linerless scales on it, which makes it extremely less rough in my hands. It has got probably one of the sliciest grinds, best heat treats. Guys, I've never put this knife on a strop. I've had it for over, again, I'm not a hard user guy. And I've got plenty of knives to carry where I'm not having to run this one through my daily task every day. But this knife has really shown me, and I've got a lot of Spydercos, and I love all of them. I've got 3 pair of 2s in all different blade shapes. But when it comes down to just slicing for me, I can't beat my Vanex. This is probably my number 1 Spyderco, even though I love my Shaman very much. This one with these scales is just delightful. So I'm going to give this the number 2 spot tonight. And we're going to move on to our sliciest knife of the night. And probably one of the sliciest knives in my collection. We've seen a lot of this knife closing out the year because it is an absolute banger on so many different levels. This is the Kunwu Padre Vanex. I watched Metal Complex's video this morning and saw that this knife came out with a pre-order in a reverse tux with a DLC coated blade. If those show up anywhere as a drop, I will buy another one. Even if I'm not in the position to buy it, I will find a way. I would love to have this knife DLC coated. It is an absolute dream to cut with. It's an absolute dream to chop into your paper with. It is an absolute dream to hold in your hand because the ergos are just that good. It has got this tall, flat ground blade and some of the best detent and the best action of any knife currently in my collection. So guys, that is some slicey knives, that I wanted to share with you guys tonight. And we'll just look at a few of them. But each one of these knives that I've shown you tonight could stand on its own as the sliciest knife that I would need, right? Or do I need a slicier knife? Could have been the title of this video. And the answer would be no, because I've got plenty of slicey knives. But guys, that is tonight's video, or today's video, or this morning's video. And it is 10 banging slicey knives in a lot of different price points that you can't go wrong with. I say a lot of different price points. You've got the Civivi Quebec, and there are slicey, inexpensive knives all along the gamut. This just came from my collection and what I really like. But guys, thank you for taking the time to watch. All I ask is please look out for that guy or gal to your left. Please look out for the guy or gal to your right. Look out for each other. Go forward with love in your heart and choose debate, not hate. I love you all. Peace.